and welcome back to Doctor Who God, I really need to look this up. Series 2, pretty sure it's that way. Series 2, episodes 5 and 6, Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel. Rise of the Cybermen is, of course, Caden, welcome. It is, of course, a somewhat motivational and uplifting story about a Cyberman who, there's like an injury, there's like a kind of in and out comatose, bedridden thing. And it's basically this uplifting story, because you would have known this at the time. It's in the title, it's in the advertising, but it's basically the story of the Cybermen overcoming, these problems and like waking up, getting out of the hospital. It's very, very touching. Of course, Cybermen don't have emotions, so like it's not touching in the narrative, but it still really manages to come across to the viewer. In the Age of Steel, because of course it's a two-parter we're doing today, is like the day after he gets out of the hospital, and it's like his birthday because he's reached the Age of Steel. That's what it's called when a Cyberman comes of age. And so you get like this uplifting kind of like motivational story, and then you just get to see him have like a good time. It's, of course, they don't really have a good time in the narrative because they're Cybermen and they don't have emotions, but it still really comes across. I think it was a risk, but it paid off.
Risk.
Yeah,
I can't wait to jump into that. That sounds
an uplifting
enjoyable.
Motivational story about emotionless people is a risk, but I think you could. I'd like to see an episode where they attempt what is traditionally like Hallmark Christmas story, like that sort of vibes. Not necessarily Christmas, probably wasn't special, but it is a group of actually like emotionless creatures, and so they don't react. You could maybe get something out of that, take a risk. That's the sentence. That's basically how we got Space Babies.
Yeah, take a risk.
Yeah, someone was like, I bet we could get an episode out of that. And then just
not.
Well, I guess we couldn't really get an episode out of that. But no, actually, no, let's not start the chat. Let's say, if you don't know what we're doing, this is probably a bad intro, but we are going to be doing a watch-along. We're basically recording a live audio commentary track. So for legal reasons, I can't just stream an episode of Doctor Who, of course. So it is bring your own video. We've got the time bar and a blurred copy of the episode I'll put up once it starts. We're starting with Rise of the Cybermen, then pretty much straight after we'll go into Age of Steel, maybe with like a few minute break in between. But it's a little bit tricky with Doctor Who specifically, because there are two versions of every episode, basically. Look, you could go into this for ages. But there's the original UK version, and then there's the version adapted for American audiences. They are identical, except for convoluted frame rate reasons. The American version is about 4%, I think it's slower. No, it's 4% slower. One of the two. It's 4% one way or another. If you're watching it live, we're watching at the American speeds. I don't know what the streaming services have. No one's told us. We don't know. No one knows. No one watches these. But in the description, it'll tell you which one you're watching, and there may be a link to the other one. One day, probably. I don't know. But yeah, how are you doing, Caden?
I don't know. I remember one of the Cybermen episodes.
We haven't watched one yet. Oh, yeah, but you watched this back in the day. Yeah.
And it's gotta be this one, but I don't know. It might not be. And I only just really remember one scene of it where they're all like ghosts.
It's not this one. That's the next one. But yeah, no, this is actually the only time. Well, I guess minor spoilers for future episodes, but the only time I can think of that in New Who where the Cybermen are in a story and they're the only villain. They're their own villain in their own right, and they stand alone. Which is fascinating. Usually they get paired with the Master, but we haven't reintroduced him yet, so... Yeah, I've had a rough morning. We got a leak. And so we have this kind of cupboard under the stairs, lots of storage space that, I collect those Eagle Moss starships, it's all over the channel.
This is going
that's not going good. No, that's not a good start to the story. The starships are fine. But we, in case we move or have to like store some away for whatever reason, I like to keep the boxes. And so we keep all of the cardboard boxes, mostly the big boxes, but a lot of them have been under the stairs because they're nice, tucked away. It's real space efficient, just in the room where there's nothing else but the water boiler. And that room's now waterlogged. So most of the boxes are fine, but all the boxes that were on the floor, which is mostly the big boxes, they were not in good condition. I didn't have a fun time getting all the boxes out of there. And then it was like rotting cardboard, real bad stuff. We put them out. There's somewhere else we can store them. I still got to deal with that later. But that wasn't fun. No, this is tragic. I had, what if I thankfully I could keep all the styrofoam if I ever have to store them. It was tragic. It was tragic. Oh, and I forgot to mention Happy Star Trek Day. We're celebrating, of course. It's
May the 4th
Star Trek
already?
Day. No, it's which one's this? This is, I think, the anniversary of the original series that Paramount actually does a little show and news thing about, which I've totally forgotten about. But we're not going to be doing that. I don't know. They might announce something. Star Trek's being weird. That's what Star Trek's doing. But actually, the premieres of basically every Star Trek show, I think it's everything but Prodigy. Episode 1 is free, like, somewhere online for the anniversary. So if you ever want to give that a go, you could go watch those. But not after this, of course. Would you mind entertaining them while I fill up my water, and I think we can get started?
Roger. I can tell you. I already know what I'm going to talk about. Gotta wait till we're alone, you and me. Dear viewer, the coast must be clear. All right. Time to get intimate? What? I do remember one other Cybermen episode, I think. I'm going to look it up as I type. But it's where Matt Smith is gay with, in my head, James Corden, and they have a baby.
Oh.
They don't, like, have a baby.
Oh.
Is this
no,
true?
Go on.
And the Cybermen are there.
Oh, you're telling them
it looks
what
like
the
I'm
story's
correct.
about. Why don't we... Actually, I like this idea. Why don't we just stop watching the episodes, and we'll just have you write them all based off the title.
No, I was right. My memory's correct, and it is.
What, they have a baby?
James
What are you talking about?
That's wild.
What are you talking about?
This is the Matt Smith Cybermen episode.
Well,
I guess they might not be
tell
gay.
me.
James Corden might actually have a wife.
Don't
in
tell
this
me.
episode.
Oh, shoot. The one with James Corbin in it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those ones.
Now that I think about it.
No, yeah, there's the Lodger, and that one's, God, it's Stormageddon. Which one's that one? Shoot. No, I gotta think of this. Hang on. Don't tell me. It's, because you got the Lodger. That's the first one. And the sequel, it's not like Night Shift or something. What the hell is it? It's season 6. It's just before he goes. No, it's not, because it's season 6. It's just before he dies for, like, the first time. Whatever. What the hell is it called? It's great. Give me a hint. How many words is it? Is it Closing Shift? Is it that?
Ooh, close.
What? How many words is it?
2 words. You got one of them correct.
It's closing. Was it actually closing time? The thing I said it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang it. No, that's a good one. The guy that plays whatever his face is, Craig, I think. Apparently he's not a good guy, and you have to bring that up like every time. But I love those episodes. Like, those are really good episodes. Yeah, but oh, you know what? I stand corrected. The Cybermen are their own villains in that episode. They're not tied with anyone else.
That and the ghosts are the only 2 I think I remember.
Well, you're about to remember a third. You might. I bet this one might come to you as you watch it. You'll vaguely
probably, yeah.
But yeah, the way this is gonna work is I'm gonna say it the right way around. Ready?
Right.
We are going to do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go countdown. Usually I just start. It's going to be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go is how we're going to do it. But yeah, we're going to do that on go. Everyone's going to hit play, and then you're going to have a good time. That's not a guarantee, though. That's not a customer guarantee.
Make note of this before it gets out of hand that you might be streaming the wrong window.
No, I'm not. To you?
To me. I think you might have left me on Hoodle and not Doctor Who.
No, I'm streaming the YouTube. You can watch the 30-second delayed version. Screen share. Screens. The black one. You only get you don't even get HD. You get 720, but I guess it's season 1, so that doesn't matter.
I can take it.
All right, now you can see it, right?
Now I can see it.
Okay, good. Whoops, I forgot to hide the time bar. Okay. Yeah, no, it's okay. He has his own copy he's watching.
Yeah. This just keeps me in check.
This is fine. I actually, like, genuinely, this is fine. Now, if you're recording it, you're committing a crime, but... All right, as I said before, we're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm actually going to record the episode. Boop, there we go. For those of you just joining, because I screwed up, we're going to do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go countdown, and honestly, you probably know what's going on. You can figure it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Didn't want to stop the episode for it, but we got this adorable pumpkin thing that's carved like a fox. It's a wooden... It's adorable. We got it. It's a prototype Dalek. Actually, I'd love to. If I was a doctor, I would, I'd do that. I'd be like, well, looks like you're working. I learned, by the way, literally yesterday, doing the tags for this YouTube video, this live stream, that the company in this episode is called Cybus. I always thought it was Cyprus, like the country, but it's Cybus. Good old Nicholas Briggs doing the voices for basically every villain ever, as is tradition. He does the Daleks, too, and, like, basically everyone. The Judoon.
Wasn't it, Oh, no, that was someone else. Never mind.
If it's faceless, it's probably Nicholas Briggs.
Mm-hmm.
Is this our first over-the-top villain? I like that.
It's theatrical.
Do you think it's like, man, I bet this will sound really cool. He's been planning it for months, and then it's like, oh, you know what? It's not actually that cool.
They didn't just invent Cybermen, did they? I thought Cybermen were, like, still a species,
Well,
kind
I mean,
of.
technically, Cybermen are invented. The original story, they'll go over, these are new Cybermen, but the old Cybermen actually went extinct at the last season of the classics. No, the old Cybermen were from a planet called Mundas, which was Earth's twin planet. It was in the same orbit, but on the other side of the sun. Don't worry about it. Looks like Earth upside down. And they basically became the Cybermen in order to survive. It's sort of like a environmental suit because the planet was dying or something like that. But in about 30 seconds, all your questions will be answered.
Ooh, Mickey got a haircut.
Did he? Oh, wait, he did. That's weird. I like that, though. I kind of wish there was a follow-up joke, though, where that actually just, like, flooded something or something. That could even be the setup for this episode. Like, see, maybe that's what he did. Actually, here's another episode pitch. Is basically that scenario. The companion's holding down the button for, like, I don't know, 2 days or something ridiculous. Maybe not that long.
That's
But then the doctor realizes, like, oh no, that's the charge the batteries button. You're only supposed to hold it for 5 seconds. And then they have to deal with the fact that the TARDIS is like a bomb now. Oh, good, gas masks.
TARDIS has masks? That's funny.
Apparently. They never work in any future episode.
Sounds right.
They don't even have one for each pilot. There's only 4, but there's 6 pilots.
They killed it!
Yeah. Gonna be hard to do the rest of the seasons. You know what? That's actually a point I've never thought about. Is that this is the last TARDIS in existence. So the Master literally never has a TARDIS in New Who. Oh no, he does get one way later, but like 13th Doctor, he has a TARDIS. Yeah, no. I do wish that was a little more... Like, I guess it might be hard to fit in the story. But, like, there's a great scene in the 11th Doctor with Journey to the Center of the TARDIS where he thinks the TARDIS has died. Like, it's exploded. But the engines have exploded and they're freezing time. And he gets this great little moment where he kind of breaks. And he's like, she's always been there for me. And now it's my turn. I don't know what to do. And he's got this amazing, like... It's like one of the 2 times that Doctor just, like, is shattered. And, like, all this facade goes away. I feel like David Tennant here is a little chill about the fact that the last TARDIS in the universe, his constant companion, has died. The species
I would have liked a bigger moment.
He's like, Zeppelins!
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. If you missed that, they're in a parallel universe, and so that's why the Cybermen are being invented. I think there's like 5 Cybermen origin stories. Yeah, trust me on that. Don't count them. Actually, this is why I shouldn't write Doctor Who, but I would write it where, in this universe, everyone is thin. There's not, like, a single, even remotely obese person, implying that Pete's health drink actually, like, solves obesity. There'd be no dramatic tension in my Who. Like, if I was script editor, you'd hand me your drama, and I'd just ruin it with dumb jokes. Aw, Pete won. Oh my god, is that a 3rd Doctor reference? Because he drove a car that said Who won on it.
I think I saw that car in the Auton episode.
Bessie? You probably did. The yellow, like, roadster.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to watch more. We need to get Invasion of the Dinosaurs up here.
Picture's crooked.
I'll put it on the other monitor. The picture's crooked? Oh, they're in here. No, Jackie's a good character, but, like, she is real annoying as a person. Especially when she's rich. Well, we'll just have to write history so that Kubi Gooding Jr. is 39 years old. I want a Zeppelin. Not that they're real, of course. I mean, this is a fictional universe, alternate, where Zeppelins are real, but...
Right.
Yeah. I remember actually seeing someone saying that the earbuds were... Like, it was a really wide prediction to have everyone walking around with earbuds like we do nowadays. I'm like...
Yeah.
It's 2006. I don't think that's like... What if this corded thing didn't have a cord was like a massive leap. And look how bulky they are too. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure earbuds did exist in 2006.
Yeah.
EarPods though, that... I wonder... We would have had iPods. But I wonder if that is an Apple reference. Because the iPod was like 2005, I think.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Ancient history.
Ancient. What, like when you were born?
Yeah, doesn't exist.
Do you think, I'm just thinking with the recent kind of controversy around Davros being redesigned to not be in a wheelchair.
I was thinking about Davros.
Is John Lumick an example of the stereotype of disabled people being villains? I'm not sure, but like his disability does directly tie into why he made the Cybermen. Like he did it to be immortal and like fix his body. But I don't know, he doesn't... I don't know. I could see him going either way a lot more.
Yeah.
Because like Davros was disabled because his planet had been in war for like 300 years, so he was in a bomb accident. Like even if he wasn't disabled, he still would have made the Daleks. But
I was looking at him since the start of the episode. I was like, this guy's giving me that one guy vibes.
Well, it's funny because Davros was introduced in Genesis of the Daleks, which is the Dalek origin story. It's not their first, but it's their origin story. I wonder if there was inspiration there. Like, what if we basically make Cybermen Davros? I mean, I hope it wasn't that, because that's a little lazy, like, you know, but... Oh, I thought he was talking about the TARDIS. Yeah, he really doesn't seem to be worrying about much. I guess he thinks he might be able to fix her, but I don't know. It's not the focus, but it does kind of detract from the Doctor. Because Ten's the kind of guy where, like, if something really upsets him, like, he'll proper cry. Like, yeah. God, could you imagine the noise pollution? Everyone lives underground in this world. $1557, is that the date? Is that...
I was thinking that.
Oh, that's a fun thing in the subtitles. Oh, the Torchwood's here too? Wait, I'm gonna come back to that. But, let's remember that Lumic is supporting the homeless in South America. Because that's set up. But Torchwood exists because of the Doctor. So that does imply that the Doctor exists in this alternate universe. Which is interesting, because, I think the assumption is that he doesn't exist. The button. I also like that the TARDIS is still bigger on the inside, even when it's dead, which implies it's not an active thing, it's a passive thing. I really don't like, as the series goes on, they explain this TARDIS more and more, both scientifically and in a way that makes it not actually bigger on the inside. It's more of like a portal. Man, I love the classic, so they just lean into the nonsensical. There's some great lines. There's an amazing one with Leela in the Fourth Doctor, where or just all the classic explanations of why it's bigger are just ludicrous and fun. Yeah, there we go. So he's taken the South American homeless for something.
New South American.
Did they say New South America?
Yeah.
What's Old South America?
I don't know.
Is there like 2 more continents? There's the New World and the Newer World. Well, actually, it's the 15th Newer World since the original, so. God, I love how 2005 all the tech is, like the camcorders, the phones.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who should feel like it was made in the decade it was made in.
Yeah. I love when they spend time in the TARDIS. It's my favorite set, consistently, always.
No, they're good scenes. I like the TARDIS. I think generally fans like it when the TARDIS is a home. Which is where a lot of disappointment with the new one comes in, which is a good base, but it's just not got any homeness. And like last season, like God knows how much they spent, both in money and floor space on like 15's TARDIS set. I think we have 2 scenes in it. And just because Russell T Davies, for some reason, even like back now, doesn't really like the thought of the TARDIS being at their home, even though it is, like narratively. He likes the idea that they literally go like from adventure to adventure with no break, almost like the episodes are consecutive.
Yeah.
Even though that's really not how it's ever worked, like even in his own stories. Well, sometimes they were consecutive, but there'd always be references to like other things. But we talked over it. He gave up 10 years of his life, the Doctor, to put it into the TARDIS. I'd love to come back to that at some point. You could bring it in with the 14th Doctor. Like, that's why he doesn't outlive Donna and everyone that he's, like, staying with, is because he gave up, I guess 10 years is a little low, but I want to come back to that.
I don't think it's like, I guess they're tackling something different, but I'm getting sort of Father's Day energy. Okay, now I'm definitely getting it.
I mean, it's dealing with Pete's dad.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. Did she not learn?
It's different. Well, this is different. The problem with Father's Day was that you can't, like, change time and make a paradox. But this isn't a paradox. This is just a different dad. Actually, Mickey does get a good storyline in this episode, too. Watch this, and then he bi-generates just for Gadwa goes after Rose.
In my head, I don't think there have been too many moments throughout the show so far, but I remember there are consistently more where Mickey understands his non-being valued as a character, and I think that's so interesting for just the narrative that they present. I love it. It's sad, but moments like that, where it's like, you can take one of us, you're not going to pick me, you don't care about me.
I think
it's like, I like it.
There's still potential in that concept. Like for a modern companion. I guess Rory kind of has aspects of that every now and then, but no, not nearly as much. It's mostly just his first few stories. Yeah, trust me on that one, but I can't think of any other companion who's really had that. Like, is an actual part of the narrative. Sometimes the companion just doesn't get the focus, so they're just not, paid attention to as much. I guess you kind of almost need a romantic relationship for that, though, but maybe you could do something where, like, the Doctor's been with someone for, like, 2-3 seasons at this point, and then the new person has a sort of outside feel. But I guess the problem is you have to paint the Doctor in somewhat of a negative light. And then you'd be playing favorites, which doesn't really feel like the Doctor. You'd have to be pretty careful with that. Even K9, probably. I think the Doctor treated K9 with just as much respect as Leela or Romana, like, back in the classics. And the whole thing is that Mickey's the tin dog. Did I tell you, Alex and I realized what I want for the 16th Doctor, my ideal Doctor, is the dynamic where you have, like, a mother, a single mother, and, like, their youngish kid, old enough that it wouldn't be, like, morally horrific to take them on these adventures. And then it wouldn't be romantic, but the Doctor would basically be, like, a fun dad. And it'd be like, could you imagine a scene, right, where, like, some big dictator figure is, like, going off about taking over the world and there's serious threats, but the Doctor just nonstop dad jokes every sentence the villain makes, and he just gets more and more frustrated. Tell me that's not what you want.
This sounds perfect.
Yeah, I want a dad. I want him to generate into someone with a bit of a dad bod. Like, he doesn't wear, like, crazy Hawaiian shirts, but it's not stylish. It's dad look. It's like an uncool dad. And that's what he's still got that intelligence, that Doctor, but where a lot of Doctors wear a mask of, like, silliness, I want him to wear a mask of just being a dad, but also he is just kind of a dad anyway. That's what I want. This scene's always bothered me a bit, though, because, like, everyone driving, it's like, all right, we're taking the plane down. We're on approach to runway. That's a mid-surgery. What happens if you're asleep?
You sleep stiller.
Does that affect your dream?
Your dream stops.
Well, it's like, it's just about the morning news or something. God, I better hope there's not, like, a bad fire or something. Again, with the joke, I would have had lottery numbers come up, and you hear in the background, like, woo! Like, one guy who got the numbers. Oh, yeah. This always kind of bothers me. Like, this isn't a commentary on, like, phones and technology taking us apart, which, I mean, I have problems with anyway. You're in Florida now, right? And we're having this conversation. But, I don't know. Other than what we talked about the logistics of literally everyone freezing, which you could work around. Maybe it's like an optional. You trigger it. But that seems fine. Like, that just seems good. Everyone's more informed. You don't have to take the time. You can get as informed with just less time. And that's the hard part, is dedicating the time to it. But actually, I'm just going to let that sit, because I really like this scene with Mickey.
Ooh. Yeah, where's she going?
Okay, this is a sort of dumb joke that I would have tried to fit in and then someone actually let through. Is that alternate Mickey is actually Ricky. Because that's what the doctor calls him. It's such a good scene.
Yeah, like, great moment.
I think Mickey doesn't really get a lot of time to express his skill as an actor. And the guy who plays Mickey is awful. But I think he does a phenomenal job acting in this scene.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't think we're ever told... At some point, I think we're told that, like, his mother died or something, or his grandmother. I don't think we're ever told that she fell down the stairs and broke her neck. Maybe we are. But, like, that scene does an expert job. That scene establishes that, like, he's got the blind grandmother who tripped on the carpet and fell down the stairs and broke his neck after Mickey kept being like, hey, fix that or you're gonna fall. And, you just learn so much about them, and like you were saying, a character who's so, as part of the narrative, undervalued and ignored. It just helps add a lot of depth. Oh, and also it's set up. Honestly, that scene feels like it's from season 1. Where, like, every scene is some masterclass achieving 5 different things perfectly. Not Thin Jimmy.
Thin Jimmy.
But see, he's not like Fat Jimmy. It means the health drink is working. He is a bit thick, though. This is a really aggressive presentation, right? I've never liked it. It's so rapid pace and, like, assertive. Could you imagine Steve Jobs going up on the stage? He's like, this is our latest iPhone. It's got, like, the best processing. You're gonna need it. We let ourselves talk over, like, bad bandwidth and poor quality, but these speakers are the best. He's, like, pounding his fist as he does it.
I'd buy.
I'd be intimidated into buying it. I just imagine the box with instead of, like, the iPad, it's got the picture of, like, the phone at the bottom, and then it's, like, some guy sideways holding a gun, like, straight at the like, out the box. You walk into the Apple store and it's got, like, cardboard cutouts of, like, heavily armed men.
Buy.
7 foot tall. I don't know, the Cybermen concept, it doesn't always, but often comes close to brushing up against, like, the anti-immortality sentences I really hate. And I think the way it's always explained is that, regardless of, like, the origin story, the Cybermen are emotionless, for one of 2 reasons, actually. Because they're in constant pain, and they need to not care about that, which actually that is a good way to do it. Or the second is just because, like, they don't want to be Cybermen.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of, or, like, basically it's more general. It's the idea that being replaced with the machine is so inherently bad you, like, literally would die of sadness if you had emotions, which I'm like, but why? It's like, I mean, I wouldn't want it, but, like, I don't know, if I was in a wheelchair, if my body was somehow, like, super frail or otherwise incapable, I'm like, I don't know, that does seem better. Like, I might I might prefer, honestly, you know?
Yeah, I like conceptually the
Yeah.
constant pain, so they like can't feel. That's a cool concept to run with and see what you can do.
That's better, because the
Yeah.
problem you can run into when doing a moral is, well, it's this way because I wrote it this way, and then you like pat on yourself because you're like, oh, look at how good we are. But saying that they're in constant pain is good, because that's like something specific to this implementation they can't fix. And it's like, it's not saying that if you could resolve that, it would be bad. It's just helping. It helps you explore the themes a little more generally and still make your points without just going, oh, well, I say it's right, so I'm right. So that is a good way to do it.
This is a you in the writer's room moment also.
Oh, yeah, no. You're telling me they couldn't get a Beatles song? Like...
Torturing them? Lion sleeps tonight. That'll be good.
This is actually what I do in my morning routine. You remember in like Dot and Bubble where they wake up and they got that routine? I just play this scene, yeah. God, those are a lot of Zeppelins. Like, could you imagine if there were just that many Zeppelins, like, at all times? What are they doing up there? Are you ready for some 2006, the same actor in, like, the same frame? Get ready for that. I mean, I think it's usually done pretty well, but it is 2006, so, you know. Does that mean it's Jackie's birthday in, like, their universe and they're just missing it? Because, honestly, in character, they don't even bring up... Right. They don't even bring up it might be Jackie's birthday. Because, like, if I forgot about my mom's birthday and then I was in this situation, I'd go, oh, shit, it's my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
You know? Like, poor Jackie. You are so Dr. Dame Rose. I remember, like, 3 episodes ago.
Interesting how drastically differently shot this scene right here is. Like, fully handheld in their business. I don't know. That just feels different than, like, everything else they've done.
That is an interesting direction note. I wonder if it's maybe to kind of help it feel more crowded. Like, it's tighter shots. But that also just might be budgetary, like maybe they didn't have too many extras, or it's an easier way to do it. But I think it does feel like a little more crowded.
They're long taking, too. Like, we're walking across the room with her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it, but it's...
I wonder if also it's just logistical. Like, you couldn't have had a track for all those shots. You had to... I mean, you probably could have gotten, like, a stabilizer, but... I think it's good. That's why it's good watching with you. I don't notice direction, like, ever. Actually, I legit wonder, it must not have, but if the suit in, like, fancy dress budget would have been too much to get too many extras. But no, surely the BBC has got, like, hundreds of suits just lying around for their shows. It's like, dang it, that paperwork I have to fill out. Sir, we've got him. They've admitted you can enter the building now. It's her birthday, you know?
Whose birthday it is, yeah.
The weird thing is, it would have added to, like, what they do with Jackie, about how she's the abandoned, like, woman. The abandoned mother. But, yeah.
If I went to a parallel universe and I was replaced with that dog by my family, I would be crushed.
Rose is 19, though, so I guess I guess they probably waited. It was too late, and then they got the dog. But I don't know. You'd have to be sure that you're not having that kid before you're like, okay, we'll name the dog. Caden's kind of a weird name for a dog, though.
Yeah.
I can see Rose.
Close to K9.
I don't think Alex doesn't like my Doctor Who dog name suggestions, like K9 or Fred. Like, they said no to Fred. Did I tell you
Aww.
that? Yeah.
That's a good dog name.
I got a dog. He's called Fred. My dog is alive. He's not dead.
Well, that won't last forever.
Well, not if we get cyber dogs, you know. Maybe... God, I could see the next, like, dinosaurs on a spaceship or space babies being cyber dog. It's like just a bad episode about a Cybermen dog. I don't know. That probably people like dogs. There's too many bad implications about cyber dog. And he took his bike to the clone shop? I know what it's probably slang, but my name was Shaxon Jib.
I don't even know if there was ever an opportunity to see that Mickey had a tattoo.
No. I mean, often it's hidden for actors like that. The third Doctor had a tattoo that they usually try and hide.
Yeah.
He regenerated with it, actually. Don't think about that too much. Actually, that'd be kind of a funny joke, as the Doctor regenerates, and then, like, he has to get dressed for some reason, like maybe change his shirt, but he's got, like, a really distasteful sexy woman tattoo or something, and, like, he gets judged for it. He's like, oh,
that's funny.
I hate when that happens. You know? Or, like, he takes off his shirt to get trained, and there's this elaborate, like, scene, kind of like Dad has. It's just all over his chest. It's a nice kitchen. Like, where is they getting this mansion? What is that company called? Is it like the Cybermatics? I keep trying to make it out.
They unrestrained Mickey?
Did they not restrain Mickey?
I mean, it looks like he's just with them now.
He's like, well, we're all heavily armed now, so like...
And I don't know. I guess, unless that's Ricky, but he looks so worried.
No, they're both
there. But they put him in the evil clothes.
They're both there. Well, he was, like, in his underwear. He's making a move. We gotta go. What about Mickey? Well, I don't want people to see me naked. That's Ricky saying that. You know, it's... That, again, I will put that joke where he's in his underwear. It's like, okay, you have my body, so this is actually kind of uncomfortable. I don't remember my 21st.
Me neither.
Wait, 28, 10, 11. Oh, that would have been COVID? I don't know. I love how awkward and natural that is. Like having to move the waitress container. And do you remember her 21st? Oh, no, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Because she'd be 20. work for the press. Dab. I mean, this is ripped like straight out of Father's Day, but. Oh, look, Torchwood again. They don't want me to forget about it. Maybe they forgot to reference Torchwood last time. What was last episode?
Fireplace.
Fireplace? Oh, yeah, you wouldn't have Torchwood in pre-revolutionary France. His drink company is called Vitex. It's like a tech company. What do you think of the Cybermen design? I mean, this is probably the only one you've seen.
It's the like one that like in my head when I picture Cybermen. Yeah.
They redesign them, but it's like Clara that they redesigned them for. I like it. Most people prefer the classic ones. They're less like robot and a little more man in suit. But God, I hate the original Cybermen design everyone loves, because they've got these exposed hands, right? But the whole point is it's like a survival suit. It's so they can survive in extreme environments. And having exposed hands, first off, you're still going to be like limited by the lifespan of a human because of the hands.
Yeah.
And secondly, you literally can't survive anywhere else. Like, it doesn't even have gloves. It put gloves on it, it's fine. But like in the episode they're introduced, they can't enter a room because there's loads of radiation in it. And I'm like, well, maybe if you had gloves, you could go in the room. I hate it. They redesigned that original It Was On Point to have gloves, and it fixes it so much better. It's an amazing design. No, I'm commenting on your costume design. This episode really relies on you being exactly in sync with me. Yeah, she's a nasty piece of work in this reality. I guess she was kind of nasty from what we saw before Pete died. Maybe that's what they're going for. Or they're just being like she's a spoiled rich brat, but I don't know.
Of the whole episode, I remember this sequence.
Cybus,
I remember them running up.
Name. I don't like it. Yeah, I think. I think we're coming up on the cliffhanger. Someone pointed out not too long ago, maybe like a year or so ago, I don't know. They posted on the Reddit, what happens to Rose the dog when the Cybermen invade the house? Because the Cybermen don't need her. But we learn at some point everyone, except for the handful of people we see rescued who don't have the dog, are killed. And then the whole Reddit it was a moment the fandom broke. It's like, no one has ever thought of this question before today. And I think they all wrote elaborate situations on how the dog survived. Or that's how we could get the cyber dog story. You know?
Yeah, I rock with this costume. I do.
Yeah. People like the exposed skin because there's a body horror element to the Cybermen that is usually sidelined. And it is true that when the Cybermen look like robots, I mean humanoid robots, but robots, they're often treated as robots. And we kind of ignore the fact that there's a person in there. But I don't think those are... I think both of those aren't inherent flaws. They're writing flaws.
Yeah.
In this episode, for example, I think does a great job of the body horror.
Yeah.
But I could also see that thing being immortal. You need the brain, because that's the whole point of the Cybermen, is preserving that life. But barring that, I'm like, yeah, replace everything else, because that's naturally what you do with the Cybermen if you add the technology. Actually, I stand corrected. I was 6 when this episode came out, but it was a big prediction. Because as we mentioned, the iPod is like a year old now.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is like a commentary on like how everything is sort of disposable, especially with tech, like the planned obsolescence stuff, and the like need for the newest model that other people have. I had a 10-year-old phone, and I only replaced it because I realized it wasn't getting security updates anymore. But you wouldn't have had that because I think Apple, at least from what I heard, practically invented that idea of planned obsolescence, and it must have been in other places of society. But that is kind of forward thinking. I mean, the original intent behind the Cybermen is just outdated, because they're a 60s villain, and there's a lot that happened in the 60s that contributed to them. But part of it was that we were kind of starting to figure out real transplants and like artificial limbs and stuff. That was a big part of it. And so there was, the kind of that fear of at some point you could replace enough of a person to where some sort of essential like soul or person quality is lost. And now it's like, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, you telling me John Lumick should just like sit in his wheelchair even though we have the ability to make him, have full use of his legs? Like, no, that's ridiculous. And it's like a plastic leg isn't going to make you not a human.
Yeah.
So they did need an upgrade for newer stuff. I mean, heck, even in the 80s, they probably needed a bit of that upgrade to look more like robot. Oh, you've seen a classic Cybermen head, actually. It was in Van Statten's museum in Dalek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I get they have to look different, but it's kind of funny that Ricky always has, like, angry eyes in every scene he's in. Even, like, earlier when he was just, like, making eggs and his friend came in, he's like, It is kind of fun over the top, though. Do you think the eyes are holes or like a solid black thing?
I thought they were holes.
I kind of do, but
I don't know why you'd need them
or something, right?
But yeah, I like the idea of if you do peer in there, like it's messed up.
But you'd see something like the light. I mean, the costume is probably like a black fabric, but in universe.
Yeah.
So, but like, then you could just shoot their eye holes and shoot their brain and win. And that's not right.
Yeah, maybe they're lenses, I don't know.
There we go. There's our cliffhanger. And, you gotta give shout-outs to Russell T. Davies. I don't know if it's universal, but usually when he does two-parters, he doesn't do a next time on, which is...
Oh, that's beautiful.
I mean, I'm against the next time ons anyways, but they are especially egregious for two-parters.
Oh, yeah.
A certain famous spoiled Cybermen story twist of the 12th Doctor era could have been totally avoided if we didn't do that. I'm trying to get Age of Steel open. Hang on.
I'm going to refill my water while you set this up.
Okay, we'll have a brief break. Maybe probably not too long. I gotta get subtitles. Track 1. Audio is stereo. This is the bit you usually don't see. Yeah, that sounds right. Oh yeah, I think we're good now. Hide that. Is my time bar moved? No, it's good. Yeah, usually what you don't see is me getting the audio set up, and then Kaden and I playing... it's called like Hoodle or Dr. Hoodle, which is I see your back, where it like shows you a random screenshot. Well, not random. They're curated screenshots of an episode, and you have to guess what episode it is, and you get like 5 attempts with a different screenshot each time. And that's what we do. before the streams. That is maybe the reason why this stream was like started at noon plus 40 seconds because Kaden
allegedly
couldn't figure out. Well, allegedly, someone else couldn't figure out that it was the parting of the ways. You know, but I got it on the first one which is even more impressive because of how many episodes I've seen. If you think about it, allegedly, how many episodes I've allegedly seen. You don't even know if I'm watching these ones. I might just have my back to the screen.
You're just listening with your eyes
guessing.
closed.
No, I don't even have my headphones on. I'm just guessing what everyone is saying. I actually mute you for all the streams, so it's just me. So it doesn't look like I can't hear you. Yeah, it's actually kind of like I'm crazy or I'm talking to the audience is what they think is happening. Yeah. But anyway, I'm joined once again by my brother Caden, and
hello.
We're gonna start the age. No, they can't hear you. Don't worry. They're gonna start the Age of the Cybermen. We're not gonna do the same spiel. I'm gonna give it like another minute till. Oh, now it's 1:02. I don't want to give it another minute. I think we're gonna give it another go. Actually, do I need? You entertain them. I'll fill my water bottle. That's what we'll do. I need to hide the screens. I don't know my buttons. They're my buttons, so. Keep talking about, like, Stormageddon or something.
Stormageddon?
That's the name of the baby in the Cybermen episode you were talking about before.
Oh, whoa! It is.
Well, I think they actually call him, like, Alfie or something, but, you know, you don't want to dead name a baby. Yeah.
Oh man, I had a line of thought my brain was gonna go down, but I can't go down it independently. But you know what? Maybe I will. I guess I got left in the driver's seat, so we're gonna steer this line of conversation into Cowboy Bebop. In the bit that we were just doing 30 seconds ago, it reminded me, and I'll prepare you, viewer, for the question that I'll propose once our host returns. So we'll both be in the same boat about watching episodes in your head. There was a Reddit post I saw forever ago about this person who watched Shrek so much as a kid that they knew every line and every scene, so they'd watch it in their head on like car rides and when they're going to bed and all those sorts of things.
The best way to watch... Actually, no, I want that person to do that over the course of like 40 years. And then I want them to actually watch Shrek for the first time and just see how much that movie has, like, morphed. It's like, Shrek was an ogre? It's like, man.
Well, so I can do that in my head with Cowboy Bebop. Are there any, like, Doctor Who episodes? Have you ever found yourself watching scenes in your head?
I have aphantasia, which for those who don't know at home means I can't form images in my mind. So, no.
But, like, read the script, because I have a hard time, like, actually seeing it, too.
What?
But, like, I know what's happening.
Yeah, we're still live, by the way, but...
I figured you wouldn't be sitting here talking to yourself for no reason.
Maybe I would.
You wouldn't be sitting here talking to yourself for no reason. Hi, chat!
But anyway, I mean, there's some bits I know... There's mostly quotes. I don't know if there's like a scene.
Doctor Who's so much longer than Shrek.
The thing about Doctor Who is that I watch it a lot or listen to it a lot, but it's so wide that you could literally spend your whole life watching or listening to Doctor Who, consuming Doctor Who, and never watching the same episode twice. Like, which I have, of course, but even like big speeches, I don't know if there's a single big speech I know off the top of my head. I know bits of some. What's like a good big speech I like, actually? I'm trying to think. There's Rings of Akatan. I like that one, but I don't know it. I know the opening of I am the modern model of a Gallifreyan Buccaneer. You know, I know that one. That's a good one. Man, I need to play you that sometime. Doctor Who and the Pirates. Modern Gallifreyan Buccaneer, or whatever it's called. But yeah, no, I don't, I guess. I know the plots of a lot of episodes, I just don't play them over.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had some good quote I could just use to lead into this. Nope. literally, man, I'm drawing a blank. I'd have to get out an episode list and properly look, and then maybe I could give you one. But no one wants that. And we've already killed enough time between episodes. And once again, you've made me miss my window of opportunity to mention how I have to jump over that puddle of water when I go up and down the stairs because of the aforementioned leak.
Unfortunate.
The thing is, the leak isn't even in this room. It's going through the stairs, because that's the water boiler's under the stairs. And it's also going through to the wall into the adjoining bathroom. We're in...
not ideal circumstance.
No. It's not. It's really not. But anyway, I think it goes. Something I forgot to mention. I was looking for a window to bring it in, but I've mentioned before, Russell T Davies structured his first 4 seasons in seemingly his 6th season, if the rumors are to be believed, after, which is Judy Gad was second, after the first 4 Doctors. Mm-hmm. So basically, he kind of identified the major villain of the first 4 Doctors, and that's when he chose to introduce him. I think is kind of space him out is probably part of the reason. Yeah. So, number 1, we met the Daleks. I mean, Dalek Mania was huge in the 60s. Mm-hmm. The Daleks is literally the second story in Classic Who. They're big for 1. The Daleks, the BBC couldn't really use them for a lot of the second Doctor's era. For complicated reasons that don't matter. But the Cybermen kind of filled a place. They were a big successful one that actually you could bring back. You'd probably choose the Yeti, but they're not as fun. Like, the Cybermen were right to bring back. They're big. Like, basically every Doctor has fought the Daleks and the Cybermen. Even the first Doctor did. But... the Cybermen are introduced in the first Regeneration story. The third Doctor's era, I won't tell you, because that's next season, and it's a bit of a twist. You honestly might be able to guess, but it's an obvious one. The fourth Doctor is much more varied, but they did the Sontarans, who weren't introduced in his era. That was the third. But there's some more stories. They're a little bit more obscure. I mean, there's not a great one you'd bring back. The Sontarans are kind of the only ones, I think, that really repeat and show up a few times. But they're a more obscure one. And then when we got to Ncuti Gatwa, he's like, I don't know, Pyramids of Mars? Screw the Mara, I guess. Like, we talked before, the fifth Doctor is like 2 of his 3 seasons just have a lot of recurring villains, so there's not a whole lot of... But there are some he could have chosen. But anyway, I think we'll get started. As before, we are going to be doing a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 go countdown. On go, everyone's going to hit play, and then we're all going to pretend to be Pickle Rick. I don't know. It was the first thing that came to mind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my gosh. It's going to be funny if someone watches a version of this that doesn't have the previously on. And it's just like, oh, why did they do that? We'll have to see. What would I have said, oh my god, too, if without the previously on? I also generally don't like previously ons. They're usually fine for a 2-parter, but if the story's any more drawn out, often I feel like I can predict the episode based off what they chose to highlight as important from previous episodes. And even if I'm wrong, the feeling that I know what's going to happen going in is not good.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is what I would have said, like, oh god, too, I think. Actually, why are they incompatible? Because they're rogue elements. Like, was everybody else in that house, going along with it? Because it didn't look like it. The Doctor's usually incompatible because he's a Time Lord. But, Which is weird, actually, thinking about it, because there's a major plot point future on in the Cybermen that Time Lords can become Cybermen. In the current lore of Doctor Who, I'm not actually sure if there are human Cybermen. As in, like, Ncuti Gatwa's lore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, huh?
Well, actually, in the current lore, there aren't, because all the Cybermen are extinct in our universe, so...
Oh, yeah.
Season 26 of Classic Who, the final one, is actually fascinating for how well it accidentally wraps up, like, every villain. The Cybermen go extinct. The Daleks... in the midst of a civil war, have their home planet destroyed by the Doctor, which very easily could trigger the Time War. The Master is in the very last story. And actually, he's also in the movie, which kind of helps set up some Time War stuff. Like, it's a really fascinating... It's a good accidental storyline.
Yeah.
It was just so weird watching it with the context of, like, all of New Who up to that point, which was probably, like, 11th, 12th Doctor. That's Mickey.
Evil Mickey's... Yeah, it's just comical how, like, he's got this frown on his face the whole time.
It's funny,
like,
but it doesn't, like, it doesn't ruin the episode. It's just it's the exact right level.
Like, that's evil Mickey. It's
yeah, it's how you know. And, like, it makes sense. He's evil Mickey. He's grumpy.
Yeah.
he runs a resistance. He is actually narratively putting on, like, a tough face, but he's literally putting on a tough face. It's great. Oh, maybe 1557 was a date. What is that? Just like May 20th? It's like, or is that actually a while ago?
It's not New South American. It was New South American last time.
No, New South America. Well, unless there is actually just old and new. But why would there be New South America?
I remember it. I'm 100% certain.
What's the original South America? Like Africa? Is Europe North America? That would have been fun. New Europe and New Africa. Just because they're, like, close. Oh, he's lost his angry face. Just Telltale Games. The Doctor will remember that.
Yeah. Now he's back to evil, angry Mickey.
What a weird waitress.
Your wife might still be alive. Oh, God! That's what just
happened. I thought I could get the house. I was upset about the paperwork. It's kind of interesting thinking about, though, that, like, Pete knew everything Lumic was doing, and he did try and reach out to a secret group, but he didn't reach out to, like, I don't know, the EU or, like, New Germany, the government of South America, assuming there is a government of South America.
He did his best.
Yeah, you know. I think this is my favorite Cybermen design, but honestly, a lot of them are pretty similar. It's probably just because it's the first one that was there for so long.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the Daleks, I feel my favorite is the Time War, like, Bronze Daleks, but that's because I genuinely just like them, as opposed to the other Dalek designs that I can actually, like, tell you why. But there are plenty of good Dalek designs. I don't like the ones after this that just look too much like they saw Iron Man. They do. You'll see them. It's just Iron Man at that point. That's That's the one of Neil Gaiman's scripts that they rewrote. I was telling you about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like I'm gonna call it paint work, but whatever they're doing to get the texture of that metal, it's cold, it's harsh, it's utilitarian. It's exactly what it should be for a Cyberman, and it's functional too. It's protective. Like you could go in space, you could go in radiation, you could do whatever. You don't have any gloves.
I never realized that like the symbol on the Cyberman's chest it's literally just like a corporation logo. Like I'd never.
In Modern Who, it's a logo, even though I'm pretty sure it's the same symbol as like older Cybermen. In this universe, it's a logo. Is that guy crying? That guy, one of those guys was crying. I don't know why.
He was in the middle of something.
He's like, this is my time. I could be the 11th Doctor with this. Yeah, I don't know. I could see him being either way, because, like, he is kind of evil because of... He's not necessarily evil because of his disability, but he's motivated to a fanatical point because of his disability. But it's also, like... There's still a logical reason. Like, yeah, that makes sense, you know? But I don't know, it's not the worst example at best, but yeah. It is unfortunate,
it could have just been an old guy.
Well, when you think about the disabled and especially wheelchair users in Who, that you can come up with multiple examples of evil characters. Not all of them, but at least the 3 I can think of at the moment, 2 of them are evil characters. And I think that's really where you get the problem, is if, like, especially all your disabled characters are evil, but none of your disabled ones are good. Because, of course, if disabled characters can't be evil, that means that all disabled characters are good without, like, a trace of bad in their body, and that's wrong for the opposite reasons. Like, that also doesn't feel right. Well, actually, 4. You've got the new scientific advisor is in a wheelchair, so now we're at 50-50 again. Forgot about her. The 4th one, by the way, is from the Dalek Invasion of Earth, a First Doctor story where there's a wheelchair guy.
Could have been helpful to do that when they were surrounded.
Well, they were looking at him, you know? I don't actually know. What did he do?
I don't know. Little screwdriver.
He just did it, you know? He sonicked him. You know that the Cybermen have fallen too far when he can sonic the Cybermen. Like, in this episode, I don't think he sonics the Cybermen. I think he maybe, like, made something else make a noise, but... That's when the villain becomes too much of a robot. Yeah, the Daleks have a similar problem, where often people treat them as robots, forgetting that there's, like, a living creature on the inside. The Dalek we see is, you know, more of a tank than the individual.
Got a lot of therapy after that.
Yeah, you know, that's a hard one. I'd love a comedy about, like, a Cyberman who's, like, you know, a motivational Cyberman story like I was talking about. Just that shot of everyone. I imagine someone getting out of bed, like, you know, out of their coma, and everyone just stands there blankly. You know, Cyberpunk, the game, 2077. There's a storyline where you help a detective whose, like, nephew or something was kidnapped. like horrible stuff was done, but you rescue him, and so his nephew's in the hospital recovering. And when I first played the game, it's a notoriously was buggy, but they've improved it. There's a bit where you get a text from the guy, and he sends you a picture from the hospital. I don't know if you've played that mission, but it's sent. I took a screenshot of it. I need to show it to you afterwards. Because it was a screenshot of, like, someone's in the hospital bed and their whole family's there, like, get well soon, But everyone was, like, posing with blank expressions. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And the second time I played that mission, you no longer get a picture with the text. It was hilarious, but I was so disappointed. And I want that image. I have to show it to you. Because it's the most, like, kind of like... they beat cancer, that kind of vibe of the photo, except everyone looks bored to be there, like a cardboard cutout. That's what I want from my Cybermen story. No, he doesn't have angry eyebrows.
There was when the Davros died. There was a shot when the Cyberman does the Cyberman hand over his branded symbol. It was like metallic veins built into the Cyberman suit.
What are you talking about?
The Cyberman hand has veins.
I'll have to look.
I think that's odd.
I'll look. I mean, it could make sense, but I have to look at it.
Trying to look up it's kind of hard to Google a picture of Cyberman hands.
And just Doctor Who Cyberman hand doesn't do it.
No, I'm just kind of getting Cybermen.
Well, I'm sure we'll see a hand at some point in the next 30 minutes.
It might have just looked like veins in motion.
I don't think they have veins. London should be slightly on fire in the background there. I mean, it might be, but I think those are just street lights. Well, not that one guy crying. Apparently emotion's fine. Well, he's finally learning. I wonder, I'd be interested in a list of companions where the Doctor goes, well, I can't stop you, versus the list of the companions where the Doctor still tries or, like, thinks they'll actually listen. That would be an interesting split. Like, Rory, he definitely would trust Rory to not walk. If the Doctor said, stay here, Rory would not stay there. He'd follow Amy. But if Amy wasn't there, Rory would just stay there. I'm actually thinking all the male companions I could think of would just stay there. Jamie would listen to the Doctor. I quite like that. Rory would stay there. Turlo was a bit of a coward, so he would want it. He wouldn't even need to be told. He'd just stay there. I could see Dan going either way, one of the recent ones. But, that's interesting.
Good Mickey moment.
K9 would stay there, but
K9's the best.
he was literally like a servant dog, so K9's a good boy. He'd stay there unless he knew the plot needed him. Then he'd come. Because he's a good boy.
Yeah, I love the Mickey development, these 2 episodes. Yeah. Pretty cool.
It is maybe a little last minute, but it's still good. We get a lot of good stuff out of him. And I mean, where else would you put? Like he has development, but where else would you put stuff like this? He's just not in a lot of episodes.
That's a cool shot.
You like the director for this one.
I like the choices that are being made.
I never know it. So people are like, who's your favorite director in this? And it's like, I literally don't know who directs any episode. I know when Jonathan Frakes directs a Star Trek episode because he played a main character. And I go, oh, look, Jonathan Frakes directed this. That's it. So my favorite director is Jonathan Frakes by default. Yeah, to me, it's like, what does a director, like, do? Unless, like, it's like a job where unless they fail, I don't really notice them. So, yeah. Every now and then there's, like, maybe a super long shot or, like, a crazy one that I notice and appreciate, but usually I think I don't notice.
Yeah, that's up my alley.
Yeah, no. I mean, fair enough for people that care, but it's just, I mean, I do care, I just don't, but to the point where I don't actually notice when a shot is good. It's that sort of thing. Man, this is horrifying, though.
I want to see into that face.
I mean,
see how deep the hole goes.
Like, you know how mascots work. It's going to be like that black fabric that you can see through from the inside. But in universe, I don't know. It might supposed to be a hole. It just doesn't really work because you could, like, you know, it's just the size of a head. You could see the brain in there.
Yeah.
And they do have the brain in there. Like, we see that. I think we're going to see a brain in there soon.
It reminds me so similar to, like, Half-Life's Combine. Like, it's the same concept.
I'm going to pull one up, but yeah, I kind of remember them.
You take a brain and you put it in this suit, and it becomes this thing.
Brain suits? I thought that was, like, just, like, armor.
No, that's their, like, skin.
I mean, to be fair, Doctor Who did it in the 60s.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I wonder what examples of things Doctor Who didn't do first would be. I guess the Weeping Angel concept, I don't think Doctor Who did first.
Really?
The, like, it moves when you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely would have done it the most prominently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first watched Blink, and you see the Weeping Angel, I went, oh, that's a Doctor Who thing? Because, like, I'd seen them everywhere, like, you know, because I was this age, like, Minecraft mod videos, or, like, the concept had spread so much. But, you know what, you might know, I can't remember, the first SCP is basically a Weeping Angel. It's a Weeping Angel, but it's a concrete statue. Which was first? That's what I can't remember. Was it the SCP?
That's a good question. I think the Weeping Angels came before that one.
Do you know the number?
173.
SCP-173. I knew it was 7 something. Created date. June 22nd, 2007. Blink, Doctor Who. I really hope it's like June 21st. Oh, it's June 2007. Hang on. June 9th. So the airing of Blink is like 2 or 3 weeks before the first SCP. Someone definitely watched Blink and went, I can get mileage out of SCP. Of course, even if it was after, like that, they would have written Blink first, but I might look into it, actually, if Blink was inspired by something, or if it truly was an original concept, even if it wasn't the first.
Yeah.
Maybe it was first.
Classic.
I mean, the idea is really simple, and you get...
Yeah.
People exploit it moves when you can't see it, but I can't think of an earlier thing where that's actually a mechanic of the creature.
Mm-hmm.
Googling. Man, it's all about Weeping Angels, unfortunately.
Sounds about right.
How about what inspired the Weeping Angels? Well, I guess technically the Daleks were inspired by the Nazis, so that's an unoriginal concept. Doctor Who didn't invent fascism. The specific idea of a killer statue came from a graveyard Moffat found himself in. I recall that.
Huh.
So it might have been original, but I was more interested in the mechanic.
Yeah.
Someone would know. Maybe our parents would know.
I'll bring that Sonic back out.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't think you can Sonic the villains. And the future, I don't know. It's inconsistent, actually, because I know there's an episode where the Cybermen make a wooden Cybermen so the Doctor can't Sonic it. But like that does imply the Doctor can Sonic the normal Cybermen. But you just can't have a villain that the Doctor can Sonic.
Yeah, unless you like destroy the Sonic.
Yeah, then he just like wins.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, were those labels back there Earth and shower? The two things you need in life. And you only need the shower because you need the Earth. I wonder logistically, like when you get converted, they take away your emotions and you become a Cyberman. But do you do what the Cybermen say because you don't have emotion, or because there's some overlord force? Like, are you essentially mind controlled, or is the logic you're emotionless, therefore you'll do whatever? Hey, they're holes.
Yeah. I mean, they like trained them to be able to, take commands and stuff.
There is like a cyber leader, and there's like a Cybrex. There's sort of like a hive mind thing that's written into the Cybermen later on. But I'd be real disappointed if they went emotionless means you're evil. Because like being autistic, in brief, there's a defense mechanism when like your brain gets too overwhelmed where your emotions will just shut off. Like, I have been emotionless before. You don't just like suddenly abandon all your morals. Like, you still have the knowledge and the logic that they are wrong. You'll even like keep secrets, because you'll be able to understand that eventually you will have emotions and will care about like the things that are happening at the moment. You don't just become evil, but
I mean, even right now, like, Jackie stepped out of line to go talk to.
Well, that's the thing is interesting, is they almost have it both ways. Like, in this one, I think they are controlled, but they also do maintain some individuality.
Yeah.
Originally, they were a planet, like, fighting for survival, so they were just people. They were individuals. I don't know if Classic Who ever actually addresses this. Because, like, they're just a force. Like, they're a race. That's what they are. So you don't have to ask this question. But in Modern Who, they're like every Cyberman has been taken over.
Yeah.
I almost think the thought is they're emotionless, therefore they're just given orders and they follow it.
I see that.
That's a little disappointing. But yeah, you could hand wave that with what we know in the future. Ow. I love the random fan in this alcove. So if the actor gets hot in between takes, there's two fans. Like, why? I genuinely wonder if the actor gets hot in between takes. mean, that happened to my phone last week. Some woman broke in, you know? This is also a good scene coming up.
Oh.
I do like that bit of commentary where, like, the old fascistic, not fascistic, but the Cybermen are now just, like, a corporate brand.
Yeah.
More generally, the idea that something previously horrific and actually, like, horrific is just, like, a product now.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So that's the explanation why the modern Cybermen have the emotional inhibitor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Like, the people who were taken over and forcibly converted, sure, but, like, they wouldn't just explode if they learned it, you know, for example. It'd be traumatic.
Yeah.
But more generally, like, this was a design feature. Would Lumic get one? Because presumably Lumic would love being a Cyberman.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is the reason for the emotional inhibitor. Just being cold. I'm sorry, did I ruin the scene?
Mark II will have sweatshirts.
Mark II, yeah, the Iron Man ones. They're heated. Yeah, you know how I said they wouldn't just explode or something if they had emotions?
They're blowing up.
That may not have been a hypothetical.
Yeah, I think if I was forced into a suit,
But, like,
I could go crazy. But yeah, if I wanted it.
I actually can't imagine anyone doing anything to me physically that would result in me just dying. I mean, like, of emotional causes. You know, you could stab me, I'd probably just die, but... I mean, don't get me wrong. Horrific, like, trauma, sure, you know, whatever. Break me, but, like, I just die because... I know what I am now. That's and,
yeah.
Like, everyone.
Maybe put it in writing to like some sort of overload the circuitry, but they didn't touch on it.
In all of like London, there wasn't a single like trans tech savvy cyborg loving individual who was also, like, completely paralyzed. They had, like, locked-in syndrome. Okay, that's a little specific. But, you know, there wasn't a single person loving it who'd be like, actually, you know what? Oh my god, I can walk again. And I'm no longer, like, you know, the wrong sex. And I'm a cool robot, you know? At least one, you know?
Oh, there's a great shot of the eyes right there. Question answered.
What?
The close-up shot of the Cyberman face to just... Like, I'm still hung up on it. I want to see what they did.
But that was a good one. Did I miss the hand?
No, of the face.
It is a hole, but it doesn't work because it's too dark in the hole. It's like a hollow helmet, but that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually just noticed the neck piece in the costume. I don't think that works. It's like a weird plasticky thing.
Look.
I sit on the Iron Throne.
They upgraded him.
Oh, he gets lights. So that one's not a hole. Those ones aren't. It is a backing now. They're ruining my Doctor Who.
I think it is to make note that they took the disabled character, and when they upgraded him, they still put him in a chair.
Yeah, no, so it wasn't his disability. It was, you know, he actually likes being in the chair. That'd be a weird way to, like, miss the point, you know? It's almost a comical misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I don't have a... I think that... Okay, I always think that's Rory, the guy in the middle. Did you see him?
Missed it.
That guy.
Oh.
It's not Rory. But God, it looks like it is Arthur Duvall is the actor's name. But no, do you think it'd be distasteful to have it'd be like a villain? Or maybe even just someone who's like full of themselves. It's like, I don't have a wheelchair, I have a wheel throne. And like, maybe they actually have like a gold and red throne, but it's got wheelchair wheel. You know what? If I had a wheelchair, I would definitely make a wheel throne. I'm just gonna say it.
Funny.
Could you imagine going down the street and you see someone with a wheel throne? Like, everyone would love it. Just type the word sound, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no way Mickey did that.
I mean, why though? This isn't... the Cybermen are bad, but this episode does a bad job arguing it. Like... It's not, though, Doctor. I'd never call someone a genius. 15th Doctor. Well, Doctor, what did the Time Lords do? Oh, they conquered the fundamental building blocks of reality. Oh, that sounds fun. Why don't we do that? Currently, the universe is lacking a guardian of time. That's a severe problem. We've encountered many instances in which a guardian of time would have saved the day or stabilized the universe. Maybe, Doctor, maybe we should get rid of sickness and death and become immortals and fill this gap that the universe needs. I don't know, hypothetically. The 10th Doctor is just a big hypocrite when it comes to this. Don't wait till the episode where he's like telling a human who invented immortality that like he lives too long. And it's like you should accept death. And it's like, yeah, but Doctor, would you have accepted death at 80? I don't think so. In other episodes, you referred to your 90-year-old self as practically a child. That's me. I'm the idiot. I mean, he's kind of horrific in this episode, too. Look, he storms in there with his immortal lifespan. Like, he decided to kill his whole race, except for him, you know. We'll get back to that. But, you know, he bullshits and he's telling these people, like, oh, well, you don't have imagination. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't think emotion is, like, it might be a part, but, like, all of imagination? And then he's like, I'm literally gonna kill these innocent people through emotional trauma. That is the solution of this episode. Don't get me wrong, the Doctor acknowledges how horrific it is, but he does still kill all the victims through emotional trauma. Literally so emotionally traumatizing, they just die.
Drop.
Oh no, my favorite number.
I can't do that one anymore.
That's my password to the YouTube account, and my bank account, and my email. So see, he does still process it, but like, it might be one of the most horrific, like, saving the days he's done. Oh yeah, sorry. Before, when I said they just explode, I wanted to say their head explodes, but I thought that would just be too ridiculous. And see, Lumic doesn't care.
Yeah.
Lumic's happy to be here. You know what, actually? I'd be curious to look. I wonder if they actually got a disabled actor, and that's why Lumic is always in a chair, is he just can't stand up. but that's just pure speculation. Lumic's also a voice, so you could just put someone else in the cyber suit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna look up if that guy's actually disabled. Roger Lloyd Pack. I'll just look him up. Well, no one shows his lower half. Nope, there's a picture of him standing on a desk and leaning up. So I'm gonna say he's probably not in a wheelchair, given he's not in a wheelchair in any of those pictures.
What's happening? And there it is.
He stood up. There we go. That doesn't, of course, necessarily mean he's not in a wheelchair, but yeah, it looks like he's not.
It would be interesting to see, like, an offshoot, maybe not even an episode, but an appearance of, like, an amount of people who turned into Cybermen and were fine with it, and then create their own Cybermen community.
This isn't an episode we've had, shockingly, but I've heard a few pitches for a take you could do with the Cybermen is exactly that. The Cybermen invade a planet by convincing the population that they want to convert, and like they basically prey on the people society sort of left behind, or vulnerable people, or people who would have a reason to hate their body, like the trans or the physically disabled, and people like this. And essentially you could tell a story about, I mean, for one, like, people left behind by society in some of these issues, but also, just you could take it a bunch of ways. You could do kind of bad people trying to stir up a frenzy, or you could have it be very cult-like. You could tell stories about cults. It's actually surprising that we haven't had a Cybermen try and get willing converts. Yeah. Especially because by most origin stories, the original Cybermen were totally willing. Like, their planet was dying, and so the people became Cybermen. Or, again, they're on a spaceship that's, like, filling with pollution and dying. And so the people keep, like, it's a slow progression. Like, this one, they just become Cybermen. But usually it's sort of the concept of replacing more and more with yourself, until eventually you get to the point where, like, it's literally painful. And then you have to get rid of emotions so you can live through the pain. And it's usually a temporary thing. There's a great Big Finish story called Spare Parts that kind of goes through the original Cybermen becoming Cybermen. But, it's the sort of thing that, well, once they get rid of the emotion and they get that cyber suit, they no longer have a drive to return. And that's usually how it goes. Because they're actually quite altruistic villains in their own way. Like, they genuinely believe conversion is better, and that by converting people, they will improve those people's lives. Lumic, I don't know. I don't know what Lumic did. Did he just want to rule the world? Did he think it was better? I'm not so clear, but I think he wanted to take over the world so that the world would allow him to do his stuff. Maybe if we didn't talk over the episode.
Did she ever actually say anything about
Universe have Avengers Endgame? Not yet, but what was your question?
Or did she ever actually talk about alternate worlds previously in this episode?
She's doing it now. Yeah, because he asked where they're from. Wait, there's Cybermen in storage? They're their emotional inhibitors work?
Good question.
I always tell my wife that if I ever have, like, a stroke or start getting dementia and stuff, they're just not going to notice. I do that sort of stuff all the time. Bye, Pete. Why was it in the TARDIS? Was he not wearing the trench coat?
No, I think he's been wearing the.
Did they go to Jackie and Pete's? Go, we can get in with the psychic paper. Walk back to downtown London, get changed, go back. I mean, I didn't question them getting changed before. I guess I should have, but. And I guess there's a rule, you can't have a male companion for more than 2 or 3 episodes, Rose. I mean, true, but I guess it's kind of weird you could bring up a counter-argument. Yeah, Ricky, my dad's here. What's your point? Yeah, that's the reason, but... I mean, he does kind of suffer from, we're going to get rid of Mickey, so we just do the development of the grandfather and stuff, but it was good, and I mean...
Yeah.
He's got a good story. Provided you end it basically here. It just cut Journey's End. He's got a good story. Oh, what's that, Doctor? I'm sorry. Are you saying that it's useful to have an immortal race of beings who've cured sickness that have still progressed to the point that they can close dangerous paths in the universe? But also, going back to the fact does the Doctor exist in this universe? The fact that Doctor has to do this kind of implies that Time Lords don't exist in this universe. And there are other things and other stories that suggest the Doctor probably wouldn't exist in this universe.
Yeah.
Or it would be weird if he did. I mean, you can have the Time Lords without the Doctor. And you could have the Doctor, but just he doesn't go to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But Rose, just remember, don't read my emails. Still important. See, I'd also write the scene where they're walking away. He goes, oh, wait. How much exactly is my parking ticket fine?
Forgot about that.
We gotta go, Ricky. We gotta go to France. And I believe... Oh, wait. Maybe there's more. Yeah, you can't leave the TARDIS disappearing. Oh, look. It's still lit poorly on the sides of the windows. And hey, the inside lights don't match the room in this TARDIS. You can see the lights that are lighting the exterior window, and that matches. But does it bother you here for this TARDIS?
It's...
Happy birthday! Wait, she's wearing... Oh, wait, they changed. I was going to say she's wearing different clothes.
They had a pit stop. I want the roof to be cracked like it is in the newest season here.
What, Jackie's mom? No, because this is a considerate Parker.
All right.
Yeah, this Doctor has compassion. Man, that sounds like I really hate 15. I don't, but it does irk me how he drives. 15's going to be real interesting, because depending on how the next, 2 or 3 seasons go, I feel he's either going to end up as an incarnation that's really great, or an incarnation that I see as a missed opportunity with a lot of tiny, inconsequentially annoying things. Mm-hmm. And I feel there isn't a middle ground. He's going to be top of the list, bottom of the list. He's going to be one of the two. I thought Jackie drove
Did Mickey save the universe for the big deal?
That was parting of ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to keep a tally of how many companions become, basically the Doctor, but in their neighborhood. What was that? Was that just a shooting star, or was that foreshadowing?
That's a wonderful question.
Both. Ooh, do we not get a next time on? I'm just checking. Next time it's the Idiot's Lantern. Yeah, no, what did you think reintroducing the Cybermen to Doctor Who after years? Long years.
Good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't know, I liked how they did it. I feel like everything was working in tandem with everything else. The writing was good, the directing and the sets were good, and the performances, they seemed like great episodes.
I have some complaints about how the Doctor criticizes the Cybermen, but it was still a very well-constructed episode. You know, it's just little things. It doesn't ruin the two-parter. You have beautiful scenes like the Ricky and the grandmother.
Yeah.
There's the bride Cybermen who first gets like their emotional inhibitor removed. Probably one of the better ones this season. I don't think it's the best. Well, I'm still holding back on if I like Love and Monsters, but that might be the best. No, but it's definitely one of the better ones. It's certainly not a bad one. Even in like a better season, I know, hot take, it would still be like a good episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
I liked it.
But next week we've got The Idiot's Lantern, a disliked episode. I'm gonna say. Idiot's Lantern, Fear Her, Love and Monsters. Those are usually the three that get a lot of the slack. Love and Monsters, you know, a lot of people love it. A lot of people have nuanced opinions. They do. That's just like, that's the general consensus is really nuanced on it. I'm sorry to break the narrative. But, I think it's fine. There are a little, it's a good episode, but it's got some weird, you know? It's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So I hope you're excited for that.
I
That's
am
either
very
exactly your type of episode or just a little weird.
Very excited.
It's got some fun. You know how Ricky had angry eyebrows this whole episode?
Yeah.
I feel it's got a few instances of that. It's like the villain talks weird and like it's just got some weird. It doesn't really ruin the episode, but it is kind of funny. It maybe takes away from some of the stake. We're actually we are now just about halfway through. The Idiot's Lantern is going to be the halfway point in terms of episode count. We're actually more than halfway through because of the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. 2 of them are 3-parters. So I think we're actually more than halfway done. Yeah, that's right. Rose isn't going to be around for too much longer. Yeah, I can't remember if you wanted me to tell you if the companions were leaving or not, but Doomsday literally starts with, "This is the story of how I died."
Yeah, so, then the Rose one I know. I know
Rose,
that one.
You know. But the rest, we'll see. I don't know. The viewer might not know. But again, I don't feel too bad about spoiling because it is, from this point on, going to be heavily foreshadowed. In the episode opens, "This is the story of how I died." Yeah, with Rose says those lines, so... But yeah, this will be fun. I need to really get a new thumbnail commissioned from my wife, and then one for Star Trek. But yeah, I think, unless there's anything you want to add, I will probably wrap it up.
It was just good.
Just good. It's not the best Cybermen story, but off the top of my head, it's
the best so far.
Up there. Oh yeah, well, of the modern series at least. I wonder if it's the best of the classics. I'd actually have to look. What's the best classic Cybermen story? The thing is, a lot of the ones that get praise, I'm not a big fan of. I'm sorry, Tomb of the Cybermen, overrated. The 10th Planet's fine. It just kind of drags on. I'm not sure if there's a really good Cybermen story, but because I'm like on record, but it'd take too long for me to actually check. And someone's going to be like, "No, you forgot literally the best story ever." And I'm going to be like, "Oh man, how did I forget the best story ever?" But off the Invasion. I haven't seen that in a while. That one might be good. But I barely remember it. I can't think of a better classic Who Cybermen story. I'll say that. But there absolutely might be a better one. Earthshock's pretty good. Well, Earthshock's got got a memorable ending. I'll say that. But I don't actually remember if it's a good Cyberman story or if it's just a good story that happens to feature Cybermen, because I think those are different things. Well, I will say thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
And we actually were live that time. Oh, and stop recording. Hi, video people. You got to hear
Hi, video
that.
people.
Bye.